All right, so welcome everyone to Mayor Cat. So this is the game about the cat that is running for mayor. So the premise of this game is that the incumbent mayor of our city is corrupt and incompetent, and you have all quit your day jobs in order to join the campaign of the one candidate that can take them down in re-election, which is a cat. So we are going to collectively build our city and figure out a little bit about our two candidates, as well as about who all of you are. And the structure of the game is that we do a series of scenes in which either the Mayor Cat campaign does some sort of campaign activity, like releasing an attack ad or appearing at a community event or getting an endorsement, or the incumbent mayor's campaign does one of those things, and the cat campaign has to respond to it in some way. And during the scenes, things are pretty freeform until it comes time for someone to try to get the cat to do something. So if you want the cat to actually do something, that's when we go to the dice and we roll some dice to see how that works. And that will lead the to the cat going either up or down in the polls. So when you look at the character keeper, there's the blue block there that says the polls. And when we start the game, we are at 50-50. The cat and the incumbent are neck and neck in the polls. But depending on how those dice rolls go, we could go up or down. And the standing in the polls at the end of the game will determine how many dice we roll to see the actual outcome of the election. So the game finishes with determining whether the cat got elected mayor or not. And I will say in the games of this that I've played so far, the cat has won every time, though it's sometimes been pretty close. So we'll see if the streak continues here. So kind of structure-wise, we're going to go around to each person's going to get to create one scene for the campaign. Then we're going to have a debate where the incumbent and the cat debate the big issues of the day. Then we'll go around and do some more scenes from the campaign, and then we'll have the election at the end there. So the tone of the game is meant to be really wacky. This is meant to be kind of a send-up of all of the silly, stupid stuff that goes on in political campaigns. And in fact, we've got a Lines and Veils tab on our character keeper, and I've already filled in under lines serious politics. So this isn't a game where we're going to kind of dig into things that are like serious, real political issues. Like, we're not going to campaign about views on abortion or something like that. All the campaign issues should be things that are either fantastical and wacky and or really, really petty. And that's kind of the tone that we're going for with this.
Clearly, so one of our agendas is to have catnip be the new official plant in all of these sidewalks. Like that is clearly what
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so what you're going to need to figure out for so let's start actually with a little bit of quick world building here. We need a name and pronouns for the cat and the incumbent mayor, and we also need a name for our city. So does anyone have any ideas? Just throw it out there. Name of the cat, name of the incumbent, and name of the city.
Can the cat be Mr. Wiggles?
Can indeed. So Mr. Wiggles, I'm guessing he, him?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So how about the incumbent? So we want to just throw out a name that you sounds like someone that would be a corrupt and incompetent politician.
Farquaad. Like Shrek.
Is everyone cool with that? I see some laughing. Okay. And Farquaad, again, he, him?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how about the name of our city?
Well, since we went that way, what was the name of the city in Shrek? The kingdom? Remember was a funny name.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, I don't remember.
There was that song about it.
Duloc?
Yeah, Duloc. Maybe like Dulocville or something like that.
Okay, Duloc? Or Dulocville. Okay. Is that good for everyone? Okay, get some thumbs up there. All right, so we've got Mayor Farquaad of Dulocville being challenged by Mr. Wiggles. Okay, so you'll each pick one of the little blocks there to fill your character info in. So what you need to fill in there is your name, the name of your character, character's pronouns, and then you'll pick a role. And there's a drop-down menu there, so you can change that role to whatever you want, one person per role, and you'll see each role has a special move attached to it. So as we play through these scenes, whenever you do something that you're not totally in control of the outcome of, the kind of stuff that you normally roll dice for in a lot of other games, you're just going to ask the other players how that turns out. So if you are, you need to hop in the car and rush downtown before the reporters get there with their big story to try to stop them or something, and you would just turn to the other players and ask them, how does that work out? Do I make it or not? But when you do your special move, you describe how that turns out. So if you're the press secretary and your special is plant an anonymous tip in the media, that means that when you do that thing, you just tell us how that works out. You're in control of that. You also put in your former job. What were you doing before you joined the Mayor Cat campaign? And so the Mayor Cat campaign is a full-time job for all of you, but you had something that you did before that. Then below that, you've got your current dice. So there is a 1 in there because you all start with 1 die. And so you will earn dice over the course of the game. And those are what you roll to see if you can get the cat to do stuff. And the outcome of that will also be what alters the polls. So if you can fill those things in, and then also there's the tab that says questions, and you see 4 starting questions there. So you should give some thought to your answers to those. And we'll go around and kind of formally answer those once everybody's got an idea for their character, but feel free to talk out loud about your characters because, it can be helpful for other people figuring out how they fit in with their character concept.
I'm thinking of going with legal counsel and be like a very type A, high-strung, always on her phone, like shoulder pads lawyer kind of lady.
Okay, I'm going with Becky, the goth barista, who is a fixer. She can find anything.
All right, I think I'm going with Slate. He, him. He's the volunteer coordinator, and he used to be a summer camp counselor. Hey, Stenter, is it okay if I hide the columns for the 5th character that we're not using?
Yeah.
My character is Cutter, Z, Zir Self, and Z used to be a host, like the hostess in a restaurant.
Okay.
What kind of restaurant is this? Is this a fancy restaurant, or is this like at the Applebee's?
Oh, fancy.
Okay.
The people who work at fancy restaurants get all the gossip.
Okay. That's good. All right. And so then everybody's got their basic character idea. Let's go around and ask these starting questions to get us an idea of what's going on in this city, what's going on with the campaign, and to get some seeds for a little drama going on here. So I'll go in the order that you are in the character keeper there. So Slate, tell me, what dastardly act of corruption, mismanagement, or outrage has the incumbent committed?
They have taken all of the funds for traffic, like road repair and stuff like that, and that was supposed to go for like all sorts of like transportation type thing, and made a giant parking lot that basically they can use. Like it's for like the one thing that they care about. So like, what does Farquaad want? I imagine Farquaad likes like the plays, like there's a local playhouse. And so it's just like an oversized parking lot for the playhouse while the rest of the roads don't work. And like everything was funneled towards that.
Okay. All right. And then Cutter, tell us another dastardly act of corruption committed by Mayor Farquaad. You there?
Yes, I'm
no?
just trying to think of something.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm just thinking.
Okay. You want me to skip and come back to you?
Yes.
Okay. So, Becky, tell us another dastardly act of corruption committed by Mayor Farquaad.
Well, the parking ticket revenue is supposed to go into the general fund, but he's diverted all of that money to the new dog park.
Okay. And Monica, what's another dastardly act of corruption from Mayor Farquaad?
I would draw from real life and say that there was this like beautiful mural in the city, like just some wall somewhere where graffiti artists from all around the world would come and do art on it, and then he just painted it gray. He just put gray paint all over it.
Oh.
It happened in São Paulo. It was literally the largest like collaborative graffiti wall out there, and the guy just painted over it.
Okay. I see we're switching up the character name here. Okay, so Noella's character is now Blade. So Blade, have you thought of something that the mayor has done?
He keeps appointing his relatives to important positions.
Okay, good.
Like,
so we got
like his advisory board is like his parents and siblings.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we got a lot of reasons to want to get this guy out of office. But then the next question is, why, aside from the obvious, would this town never vote for a cat for mayor? So we'll go around, same order again. Slate, tell us, why would this town never vote for a cat?
Because I'm going to take something from local California stuff. It's our city has a park where it's where a bunch of like the monarch butterflies like come and rest, and cats and the monarch butterflies don't get along too well, and so that might not work out well for the nesting grounds of those butterflies.
Okay, the butterfly enthusiasts not excited about a mayor cat. Okay, and Blade, why would this town never vote for a cat, in your opinion?
The like town's symbol is a Labrador. There's like a statue of the dog in like by City Hall. So it's like a town of dog lovers.
Okay. I'm going to write these things down so that we can reference them. Becky, why else would this town never vote for a cat?
Chester Chesterton, the influential editor of the Dulochville Digest, is allergic to cats.
Okay. And Monica.
Oh my god, I don't even know how to top that. I'll say that there was an incident a couple years ago. There was a town scare that a bobcat had gotten into the city, even though it's like landlocked. So it left a cultural impact. Some people are still not over it.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to catch up on writing these things down and remembering the things that the mayor has done. Okay, so he said that he used the road funds to build a parking lot for the Playhouse. He appointed his relatives as advisors. What were the other?
He used parking ticket revenue for the new dog park.
Okay, all right.
And allocated all of like the rest of the transportation funds for something that he cared about for the Playhouse.
Right. So we have three things. What was the fourth thing?
He painted over the mural.
Oh, he painted over the mural. That's right. That's right. Okay, I've written them down at the side there so that we can remember and refer back to those as we're going. All right, so let me give you a sort of a overview of the mechanics as we play through these scenes. So you'll be taking turns. Each person will have the responsibility to frame the scene, so to tell us what it is that kicks off this particular scene. And you've got a list there in the questions tab of the scene prompts. So those are things either the Mayor Cat campaign is going to do one of those, or you're going to be responding to the incumbent's campaign having done one of those. So you might say, all right, well, in this scene, we are holding a press conference because so-and-so, the local celebrity, is endorsing us. Or you might say, in this scene, we are at the press conference where this local celebrity is endorsing Mayor Farquaad, and we have to do something about it. So you're going to set up the scene, and then it'll also be your job to bring the scene to an end, to sort of declare when you feel like the scene has played through. And so, like I said, during the scene, you kind of just tell us what your character is doing. If you want to throw in something about the world around us, tell us what NPCs are doing, what the places look like, all those kind of things. Just go ahead and do that, or you can turn to someone else and ask them a question. So, if you, if everybody has gone to the park for an event, you could either describe the park yourself, or you could say to somebody else, hey, tell me what the park looks like. It's pretty open-ended here. Where the mechanics kick in is when we want the cat to do something. So if you want to get the cat to actually do a particular thing, and that includes submitting to handling by a human. So if you're going to try to pick up the cat and take him somewhere or something like that, that would count as you're trying to get the cat to do something, because you want the cat to settle down enough that you can actually do that. When that happens, you are going to then have to roll some of your dice. So you all start with 1 die. Over the course of the game, in ways that I'll explain in just a minute, you will accumulate more dice. When you want the cat to do something, you're going to take all your dice and you're going to roll them all. These are 6-sided dice, of course. And you may add 1 more die if you do something embarrassing or personally costly in order to demonstrate your love for the cat. And so, you got to narrate that into the scene as you describe yourself. But then you get 1 more die on your roll, and you'll look at all the dice you've rolled. And if you have at least 1 6 in there, then that means that the cat does something which increases their standing in the polls. If there is not at least 1 6, the cat's going to respond in a way that decreases their standing in the polls. And it's important to note that that's not the same as success or failure at what you're trying to get the cat to do. So if you are trying to get the cat to be willing to go in the cat carrier, or you're trying to get the cat to meow really loud in the middle of the opponent's speech or something like that, it's totally up to you whether you succeed or fail at getting the cat to do that. What the dice determine is whether the way that the cat does it increases or decreases their standing in the polls. So they might fail, but in a really adorable way that wins them more voters. They may succeed, but in a way that turns off voters and makes them go down in the polls. Okay, so that's what the dice are deciding, is do you go up or down in the polls. Then you discard all of the dice that you've rolled, and we move that little X on the polls up or down as appropriate. So during the scene, everybody should be involved in some way in every scene. Every character is connected, even if they're just because they're in touch by cell phone with everybody else. So everybody's going to be involved in some way with every scene we do. And at all times, somebody needs to be taking care of the cat. So that can be, petting the cat, scratching its head, feeding it, something like that. And if you realize, if we get so caught up in everything else that's going on, and we realize nobody is actively taking care of the cat at that point, anyone is allowed to call that out. Be like, hey, who's taking care of the cat right now? When you do that, you earn 1 die, but then you have to describe how the cat has caused some sort of trouble. So the cat has gone missing, or knocked something important down, or eaten something they shouldn't have, or coughed up a hairball in an appropriate place or something. I have a few suggestions there on the questions tab, but you're not limited to those. Just anything that the cat might do that might cause trouble, you narrate that as you take your die. At the end of each scene, before we move to the next scene, each of you is going to tell us which other campaign staffer you are feeling jealous of or resentful of, because you feel like they have a better connection with the cat. They've kind of gotten on the cat's good side during this scene, and that person will get a die. So you two ways to earn dice during the regular scenes. One is noticing when nobody's taking care of the cat. The other one is if you're basically making someone else jealous because you're getting on the cat's good side. Because remember, all of you are angling for jobs in the mayor-cat administration after the election. So there's a little bit of backbiting and infighting going on within the campaign, trying to position yourself for after the election. Okay, so that's the basic mechanics of how the regular scenes work, and I'll explain the debate when we get there. So we'll have 4 scenes, and so then the last thing to remind everyone of is our safety tools here. So we've got the lines and veils tab. I've filled in a few things to start. So we've got lines against non-consensual sex and serious political issues, and a veil over consensual sex. If anybody else wants to add things to the lines and veils, just go right ahead. You can add to that at any point, but just let us know because we might not see it pop up in the tab there. We've also got the X card in play, and so you can either click the button in the roll for your party, or you can just say X card or type it in the chat, or however you want to communicate it to us. And so that's if something comes up that you didn't think in advance was going to come up at all, or didn't realize you'd want to put a line or veil on, and we get into that in the scene, and you want to just edit that out, and we'll just pick a different direction to go with things, because we want to make sure everybody's having a good time here. So are there any questions before we launch into the, yes, Yoshi?
Yeah, so I just added a veil, and that's like
okay.
Animals, particularly where for me this comes in is like, because we're going for like sort of like a zany tone, and we've got like animals and butterflies and maybe the cat like chasing down a mouse or something like that. That I think that could happen, just maybe not on screen. Especially like if there's like a dog and cat thing going on, a bunch of dog owners and stuff like that.
Okay, so keep the killing part off screen. Sounds good. All right. Is there anybody else that wanted to add anything right now to the lines and veils? Okay. So
I have a question before we go.
Yes.
So what is your plan for breaks?
We can take a break whenever anyone feels that they need one. So would people like a break before we launch into the actual playing here? See some thumbs up. All right.
I just sometimes I need breaks and able to reset.
Yeah. So actually, why don't we say we'll take a 5-minute break now. We'll take another 5-minute break once we've done the first 4 scenes and we're getting ready for the debate. Another break right after the debate.
Okay.
That should space them out pretty good. So I've got 5:41 on my clock here. So break until 46 after the hour. All right. So I will see you all then, and we'll launch into it. Okay, so we're back and ready to go. And if anybody didn't see in the chat, Noel mentioned that I've got somebody coming to the door in just a little while. So when that happens, just pause the game briefly and then continue. I put a link in the character keeper to a picture of how I'm envisioning Mr. Wiggles as a majestic, floofy cat. Okay, so the official rule for how we decide who goes first is that it should be whoever has most recently pet a cat. So did anybody pet a cat during our little break there? Does anybody want to volunteer themselves as the likely to have most recently pet a cat?
I pet a cat a week ago. I don't think that's most recent.
Guys, anybody?
It's more recent than me.
What about you, Stentor?
Well, I just did during the break, but I'm not one of the players. So.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's you, Noella. I think
yeah.
Yoshi, when did you pet Mojito last?
I think you pet Mojito after I did.
Oh, I guess it's me then.
Okay. All right. So you're kicking us off. So just pick one of those scene prompts and kind of just set the scene for us, how this is happening, and then everybody else jump in and tell us how your characters are contributing to the scene, and we'll be off.
So the scene is appear at a community event, and I think this is just kind of like maybe not a rally per se, but you know, kind of like a get to know the candidate event, like trying to get hype for the campaign.
Okay. Yeah, so everybody describe what your characters are doing at this event, how it's all going down.
So Slate is so if you have a stereotypical version of like a like black hair, like ear, somewhere between like ear and like shoulder length, like long slick black hair surfer boy, that is what Slate looks like. And so like he's kind of muscular and like does things like that, but like he's also like he's in good shape because like he's also a camp counselor, like that was his job. And so like he's just like handing out, like he's working with like concessions and like handing out drinks and stuff to make sure everybody's hydrated because again, camp counselor. And he's like, this is a hot day, everybody make sure you're drinking water and doing all this stuff and just like working with volunteers like, all right, you need to make sure that you go over there and make sure Becky gets some water. She is not going to want to like deal with you, but you need to make sure that Becky still gets some water. So that is what Slade is doing.
I think Blade is talking to reporters because I am press secretary. So I think I'm trying to like schmooze with them a little bit, but still be professional to try and like kind of sell them on this mayor cat idea.
And I think Becky is handing out like buttons and bumper stickers and things that, I mean, they all say Mr. Wiggles, the perfect candidate.
I think Monica is just like one step back from the core of the action and just on her phone wearing sunglasses, like just talking to her assistant and like just on a chain phone call, like just a bunch of phone calls and being like coordinating things from the shadows and watching over the cat to make sure nobody touches it.
So point out there's a good opportunity for somebody to earn a die right here.
Wait.
Well, Monica said that she was watching the cat.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yes, yeah, Monica's watching the cat.
Sorry, I missed that. I heard about you being on the phone.
Right. I mean, it's entirely possible that Monica is not watching the cat every single second.
Right. But if somebody has stated that they're paying attention to the cat, that kind of carries through until they start doing something clearly different. But yeah, so just take it away. Kind of play out how this community event goes. Is there any drama that arises? Are there folks from Farquaad's campaign here? What makes this interesting?
Well, I think the journalists are giving me a little bit of a hard time. Of course, there are people that want to take pictures with Mr. Wiggles, and they want to write kind of like a feel-good story on him. But there are some people that are like, this is ridiculous. Why is there a cat running for mayor? This is not politics. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I'm like, well, sometimes we need creative solutions to fight corruption. But I could use a little backup.
I think as you're doing that, I come over to you and sort of tap on your shoulder and pull you away from the mic. And you hear me whisper into you I know you're busy right now, but you're going to need to keep their attention because that man dressed up in a dog costume is back again. And he's back there and we don't want the reporters to see him. I've got Daniel working on something over there to try to get him out of here, but I got to go do that. And you need to keep their attention because we don't need the camera seeing that. And I just say that. And I'm like, nope, don't look over there. Just focus on them and I will be back.
Yeah. And I'm trying to sneak up behind the guy in the dog costume with one of the bumper stickers to see if I can get it, if I can put it on his back without him noticing.
Okay. Yeah, and so if you're going to try to do that, just turn to the other players and ask them what happens when you try to bumper sticker this dog costume guy.
Yeah. So what happens?
I think he starts barking. He starts doing dog bark. And I have a question. What kind of dog costume is this? Is this kind of like a low-budget Halloween costume? Is it more like a furry costume? Is it like a BDSM dog costume? What level of ridiculousness are we talking here?
I had originally envisioned a furry costume, a mascot style costume. If the high school was the Retrievers, because our town has a dog statue, if we were the Retrievers, this would be the costume the high school mascot would wear.
So somebody stole the high school's mascot costume and is wearing it.
Yeah, it might actually be that high school student. We don't know because we haven't demasked them, but yeah.
But I imagine he just starts doing the woof woof, and just acting ridiculous. So how did the reporters react to this?
I think a lot of them start if they have two cameras, one person is filming the cat, another is filming the dog, and they're just trying to see if they can get the dog and the cat in the same frame, and hoping the cat will have a reaction. And but I'm curious how Becky is dealing with the fact that this person in this costume is just barking.
Well, it's a little bit of a problem because I don't want to be photographed putting the bumper sticker on the dog. I don't want our campaign to be associated with dirty tricks. So I'm sort of fading back a little bit, and I'm looking around. I'm hoping for some sort of a distraction. That somebody will get the reporter's attentions for just a minute, so I can move in with this bumper sticker.
Well, I am panicking a little bit, and so I step up to the mic and start giving this impassioned speech about how Farquaad's negligence with our roads has caused a lot of problems. And I think I start recounting like a story of like a car accident that was caused by the potholes and how it has caused so much damage to people's lives and like the infrastructure, like people hitting fire hydrants or fences or people getting in car wrecks. And I'm just trying to be as dramatic as possible to try and get their attention and how we need change.
So I think you got everybody's attention, like for the most part, except for one cameraman. Like this person's not even paying attention to like the reporter or something that he's supposed to be paying attention to. It's still focused on this dog. So Becky or Monica, do either of you have a way to step in? Or maybe, yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna step up to this cameraman and I'm just gonna like touch his camera with my finger and move it to the side and say, "Are you aware that it's illegal to film this dog?"
Right, and I move in with the bumper sticker, and I get it on his back. Right, the moment this guy's attention is.
Yeah, and I'm just like, don't you see that tag? This dog is copyrighted property of the, I don't know, the Lord Winston High School. Did you ask permission for the school before you videotape this creature? I bet you haven't. I can have you in jail in like 10 minutes. I know people. If I were you, I would move your little camera out of here.
And that was a very good distraction, but I think you left the cat unattended.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So tell us what the cat does and take your die.
Oh, wow. I mean, Mr. Wiggles is missing. It's like there are these food vendors around. They've got that table set up with a bake sale, and Mr. Wiggles just darted underneath one of the tables, and now we have no idea where Mr. Wiggles went.
Yeah, so I think you see me like talking to like a bunch of the other volunteer coordinators, and we've got walkie-talkies, but like we're trying to talk in code, but not about Mr. Wiggles. Like, yes, I am looking for some juice. If anybody has seen the juice boxes, please let me know where the juice boxes have gone. We have seemed to be in need of the juice boxes. And like, so like, it's just me like fanning out, like talking with everybody. And like, you can see like these volunteers probably in like, because Mr. Will is that like color of, like that, the same color that Mr. Wiggles is. So that like beigeish brown, like we have these shirts that are like all like that say like volunteer on them or something like that. And so like you see us just like wandering around the crowd, just like looking around for everything.
So you know how like cameras and mics, like microphones will have those like fluffy things on them. I see him creeping up behind one of like the sound people, and like he's clearly about to go for the wind blocker, like the fuzzy wind blocker thing, and I'm like, oh crap, what do I do?
I'd say try to stop the cat. Roll that die.
Yep. So I just rolled my one dice.
Yep, and
to see what he does.
Yeah, you can roll a second die if you're doing something embarrassing or personally costly to show your love for the cat. So if you're doing that, you can get a second die to roll.
Okay, I think I will like Blade will like kind of go into a story about the importance of animals for the enrichment of our communities and tell them like how Mr. Wiggles has changed my life, to distract them from the fact that he's like a kind of an idiotic cat.
Okay. Yeah, so you'll then be able to roll 2 dice. You're trying to get at least 1 6 on the dice.
Oh, I got a 1 and a 4.
All right, so we're gonna go down 1 in the polls. So again, you can describe what happens, and you can succeed or fail as you choose at the thing you're trying to accomplish, but it has to happen in a way that is going to cause the cat to lose ground in the polls. So we're now at 40% for the cat, 60% for Farquaad.
So I think what I end up doing, because like I don't want this to turn into a lawsuit because that would destroy the campaign. So I think what I end up doing is like kind of jumping off the stage and start doing like, yeah, kitty, 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 Mr. Wiggles, come here, come here. No, don't do that. And like kind of just like really, and then he like runs over to me and I like pick him up and like run off the stage. And it just looks ridiculous. Like I look ridiculous. Mr. Wiggles looks ridiculous.
Right, and the voters are like, this is kind of unprofessional campaign here.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah, and so remember, you can call the scene to an end at any point when you feel like you've played through everything you want to do with this scene, since you were the person that launched it, or if you think there's more that we want to see happen, you can let the scene continue.
I feel like that's a good end for the scene.
Okay. Cool. So the end of the scene. Blade should be down to 0 dice since you rolled those. So the end of the scene, we go around and each person will tell us which other campaign staffer they are feeling jealous or resentful of right now, and that person will get another die in their pool. And so you have to pick one person that you are feeling jealous or resentful of as a result of everything that happened in this last scene. So whoever has an idea, I guess, just jump in.
So I think I am jealous of Monica because she was like calm and collected and like basically was able to boss the reporters around, and I just like completely lost my cool. So I'm just like super jealous of her ability to keep it together.
Okay, cool. So Luis gets 1 more die there.
I am jealous of Blade because I was supposed to be finding Mr. Wiggles and I couldn't get my team to do it. And yet Blade, while in the middle of talking with everybody else, was the one who spotted Mr. Wiggles. And so I am jealous that they were the one who got to tackle that. Even if it didn't go well in the polls, I feel jealous of Blade.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm jealous of Blade too, because Blade is getting all of the attention, and like when the article comes out of the next day's paper, they've got a picture of her, and it's like they've also got a picture of the dog, and they're like giving Blade credit for this idea of sticking the bumper sticker on the dog, and that was totally my idea. Zero. Yes. Sorry, I got the pronouns of the character wrong. Yeah.
All right.
Funnily enough, I'm jealous of Blade too because Zir got to hold the cat. I barely ever get to hold the cat, and he's so fluffy.
He is very fluffy.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like in the papers, they're like, who is this weird press secretary in the cat campaign? We don't even know if they're a boy or girl. And I'm just like looking at this and crying.
Okay. Cool. So that's how one scene runs in Mayor Cat. So we'll sort of go around everyone else. Everyone else will get to do kind of frame one scene in the way that Noella just did for that first scene, and then we'll take our next break, and then we'll move on to the debate phase. So just going in the order that you're in the character keeper, I think that would mean Stephen gets to frame the next scene. So again, you've got the list of prompts in the questions tab. There's no limit on reusing the same scene prompt. So whichever one strikes your fancy, whether it's being done by the Mayor Cat campaign or by the incumbent campaign, and kind of set the scene for us, tell us how this next scene is beginning.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Mr. Wiggles has promised to redirect the parking ticket money to a fund to fill the potholes, and that's got some of the dog owners up in arms, because that money was because I mean Mayor Farquaad was diverted that money to the dog park, and there are some people who don't like that.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, everybody jump in and tell us how your characters are handling this, what they're doing to support this, this new policy announcement.
Should we wait for Noella to get back?
Oh, did Noella pop out? Sorry, I was looking at the character keeper and I missed that Noella.
I missed that too.
Okay, yeah, let's hold on until Noella gets back. Sorry, yeah, I was looking at the other screen.
So a framing question. So we have to roll dice when we want the cat to do something. You mentioned putting it in a cat carrier, but when we're framing scenes, the cat can just be there already, right?
Yeah, the cat is always there with you wherever you are. So we don't have to worry about how you, like, if you're at a new place in a new scene, we don't have to worry about, like, how did you get the cat there? The cat's with you, and the dice just matter for things that happen in the scene.
And the cat only does something problematic when nobody is watching it, right?
You could narrate the cat getting in trouble anytime if you wanted to. It's just that when somebody's not watching the cat will definitely get in trouble.
Stephen, did you want to reiterate the scene opening that you were started with?
Yeah, so Mr. Wiggles has unveiled a promise to redirect the parking ticket revenue to filling potholes, which has got some of the dog owners up in arms, because Mayor Farquaad had directed that money to the new dog park.
Are you imagining that this scene is taking place, like, are we in an office we in a meeting room talking about this, or is this, like, what kind of details around that are you imagining?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've made the announcement on the website, and we've just gotten word that there's a group of dog owners headed over to the dog park for like a spontaneous flash rally against the campaign. So we have to decide what to do about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think we should get people to make testimonials about the need to fill the potholes and all of the accidents they've been causing. Does anybody know a dog owner who would be willing to work with us?
Yeah, I mean, I know several dog owners. And I'm sure I could get one of the volunteers to actually make that testimonial on behalf of the campaign. So I think that's what I will do is like, you see me like sort of like step out of the meeting room a little bit, just outside to the hallway as I like am going through my cell phone, like finding all of the other volunteers. I'm like, oh, right. Does this person have a dog? And like calling them and then like going through until I can find people who will do testimonials for us.
Yeah. And I think Becky is keeping an eye on Mr. Wiggles. It's like she's got this little saucer of catnip cafe au lait, which is like 9 parts cream to 1 part coffee.
Monica's just like typing a consent form on the computer so they can use the statements from the people that they're gonna interview without any legal trouble, and checking like defamation law to see how far they can get away with talking shit about the mayor.
So like I come back in, I'm like, all right, I've got 3 volunteers who said that they're willing to testify, or not testify, but make a testimonial video for us, and things like that. So like, if we've got these, what are we going to do right now about the people who are rallying right now at the dog park?
Do we have volunteers who can counter protest?
I mean, sure, but do we want to counter protest?
That's true. Maybe we should just release the video statements instead.
We could co-opt the protest to our campaign, like infiltrate it and make it look like it's a campaign for Mayor Cat and get people convinced.
Yeah. I mean, once we have all of these potholes fixed, then not only could the residents go to the dog park that is here, that will still be here and maintained. It is still in its beautiful state, but like we could also then go out to the countryside, which is not a lot harder to do with all these potholes in the way type thing.
Should I call a press conference?
I feel like we're getting a bit lost. Like, we have to deal with the protest right now, right? Instead of doing something else, since that's the scene.
Well, I mean, maybe we should send somebody to take pictures of all of the people who are at the protest. And I bet, like, if some of Mayor Farquaad's family are there, we can make it look like this is a fake rally. Like, just something that the Farquaads cooked up to falsely create the impression that this policy is not popular.
I've got an idea. If you can get people to take pictures down there, I can go in with a couple of volunteers and we can fix up some of the dog park right now. Go in and patch some of those fences that need to get patching and things like that. And then we can just spin it like Mayor Farquaad wants to do something in the future, but Mayor Cat but like Mr. Wiggles is willing to do stuff right now for the dog park.
Well, the dog park, it is in really good shape right now because they're spending so much money on it. I mean, this is like one of the top 10 dog parks in the United States now, but we don't really need our dog park to be in the top 10. I think a top 100 dog park is actually good enough.
I mean, we gotta decide, are we courting the dog owner vote or not? Because they don't like us. But we could make it work. We can pull like an animal rights thing.
Well, I mean, I don't think we want to alienate any dog owners, but we do need to spend more money on the potholes, and to do that, we need some of the money that's going to this dog park. We can't have these fancy marble drinking fountains for dogs when our cars are falling apart. And our mopeds. It's not just cars, it's the mopeds too. And the scooters.
But it's not like the promises are going to fix any of that. We're just trying to win the election. We're not trying to run the city. We don't actually have to do anything. We just have to tell people what they want to hear.
Wait.
Oh,
Are you telling me that we're not going to fix these things? I actually do want the potholes fixed.
Yes, we just might. But I'm telling you, we don't need to worry about whether it's going to get fixed or not. We just got to worry about what we're going to say we're going to do at this moment. We can worry about the actual doing later.
If I didn't think that Mr. Wiggles was the kind of cat that could get things done, I wouldn't be spending all of my time volunteering for this campaign. I wouldn't have given up my job at the Cat Cafe, serving coffee to people who can't afford to have cats of their own.
Cappuccinos.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, cappuccinos for the cat people.
Look, I'm not saying Mr. Wiggles is not going to fix everything. I love Mr. Wiggles. I'm here. I'm working just as everyone else. I'm not a volunteer because I'm not stupid. I'm getting paid. But, I mean, we got to win first. If we don't win, it doesn't matter what policy we pick. None of it is going to get done.
Hey, where'd Mr. Wiggles go?
Excellent.
I was watching him. Oh, Mr. Wiggles, you rat, you naughty little scamp.
I think he's eaten something that's not for kitties. Maybe he drank somebody's coffee.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Wiggles is so hyper now. This is... We've got to keep this out. We've got to keep this out of the paper. If people think that Mr. Wiggles is a caffeine addict, then nobody will trust him to run the city.
I think he starts throwing up though, so I'm like, we have to take him to the vet. But if we take him to the vet, people will see, and all the dog people go to the vet. I'm gonna call the vet. What?
I'm drafting the non-disclosure agreement as we speak. This is not getting out.
I'm going to call the vet and make her come here. I can roll it. Should I roll it?
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to roll dice for, and you've got plenty of dice there, and you can add one more if you want to do something embarrassing or costly to show your love for the cat, or you can just roll the 3 that you've got.
I think it should be 4 because you're the one who called out where Mr.
Oh yeah, 4. That's right. Yeah, so you got 4 total. You can add a 5th if you want to.
I think I'll add a 5th and like use and like give the vet a bribe. Okay. So that's 5. Ah, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5.
Oh, jeez. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, so tell us how it goes and why this makes Mayor Cat go down in the polls. You're now at 30% in the polls.
So I think what happens is, so the vet and her assistants come to help, but what happens is we're so kind of caught up in it that we get the vet to sign the NDA, but not her assistant. And the assistant leaks it to the press. And he like takes a photo because he's a dog owner. And it gets out.
That might be a good time to call the scene, even.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's the scene.
So if we're wrapping the scene there, then as before, everybody tell us which other campaign staffer you are jealous or resentful of, and that person gets another die.
So right off the bat, I'm resentful of Becky because she doubted my trust in Wiggles. It's like, just because I'm goal-oriented doesn't mean I don't trust our candidate.
Right. Well, I resent Monica for being so cynical. It's like I am a true believer, and this is just. You should have more faith in Mr. Wiggles.
I resent / am mad at Monica because she forgot to give the assistant the NDA.
I think I am jealous of Becky because I wanted to be the person who stood up for Mr. Wiggles first and being here for what's going on, but Becky stepped up first, and Becky was the one who seemed to be the ardent supporter of Mr. Wiggles, and I'm jealous of that.
Okay, was that everyone there?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 2 scenes down, so we move on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When are we supposed to use our special move?
Anytime you want.
Okay.
Anytime you want to do that, you just do it, and it's special because you get to describe the outcome, and you're in total control. So unlike with other things you do, where if you don't know how it's going to work out, you turn to somebody else or ask the group to decide for you. With the special thing, you just say, all right, I'm doing my special thing, and here's what it does. So you can use that at any point you want to during a scene.
And once you roll the dice, you go back down to 0, right?
Yeah. Yep. So you reset to 0 dice after you roll some. And then, go back up if anybody gives you any at the end of that scene, of course. Okay, so it looks like it's Luis's turn for a scene. So pick one of our scene prompts, kind of set the scene for us, and take it away.
We took too many downfalls recently. We need to play to our strengths. And it's time to place a vicious attack, Ed. I'm just going for the throat here. You all are too soft. We're not gonna win this by being clean. I'm gonna make a live stream of the cat. Like, we're all in this little studio together, and Mr. Wiggles is, I don't know, doing his own thing, like just maybe like playing with toys, and it's just like we're streaming him playing with toys while a voiceover actor, or maybe one of us even, just says bad things about Mayor Parkway. So which of us would be like the most likable candidate to do the voiceover? Most likely.
I mean, I can do it. I'm the volunteer coordinator, so like I'm not the press secretary. They won't recognize the voice from that, or the legal counsel, or so I feel like, and plus we don't really want Becky, who's the fixer, to be the voice that people might recognize. So I think It makes
Oh,
sense.
I mean, I think Becky is completely not on board with going negative. It's like I'm feeling betrayed by Mr. Wiggles right now.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think so. Slate is basically talking into the microphone as doing this, and it's all the stuff of like Farquaad has diverted all of the funds that we're used to use for the potholes to the parking lot for his favorite playhouse. And now, there are potholes everywhere, and traffic is worse, and people's tires are popping, and there were 3 accidents in the last month. And I'm just going through all of these things over and over again. Do you love art? Farquaad painted over that mural. If you want a candidate that supports art, look at this cat, Mr. Wiggles, playing so joyfully. Farquaad is not one who enjoys life. He is one who paints over things, paints over beauty. A vote for Farquaad is a vote against beauty. Vote for Mr. Wiggles.
The phone calls start coming in. Like, about how we're like, I think you're both positive and negative.
Yeah, and I think there's a crisis. The host of Dulochville's funniest cat videos on the local cable access channel, who's been one of our fiercest supporters, is saying, I can't support this. I mean, this is just, all of your ads until now have been really funny cat videos, and now this is not making people feel good about kittens.
And I'm just like monitoring the social media engagement, seeing who's commenting what, and like anytime someone says this cat looks ugly, I like get their name and write it on the type it on the computers and start making a lawsuit against them.
I want to use my special move. And so that's plant an anonymous tip in the media. And so I want to, well, I know I can like describe how it goes, but I want it to be like, I want us to like say something on stream and then put it in the media so that they confirm that it's true. Like some nasty thing about Parkwood. And I have an idea, but I just want to check that it's okay first. My idea is something like he participated in dog fighting. Is everybody okay with that? Or is that too like far into like abuse?
Yeah, I'm gonna X that. I think it's too dark for me. Maybe
what's something involving dogs that's scandalous?
Maybe he supports dog breeding.
He's like a dog purist.
Yeah.
Maybe he submitted a mixed race dog into a greyhound race. He cheated.
Is that like, I don't know anything about greyhound races. Is that scandalous?
I don't know either, but I think we can assume it is.
Greyhound races in themselves are scandalous. Like there are movements for making them illegal.
Maybe like Farquaad hates Labrador retrievers because that's the favorite dog of the town.
Yeah, I like that. Like Maybe it's something like he's actually allergic to dogs.
Oh, that's a good idea. Farquaad is allergic to dogs and actually hates Labrador retrievers.
There's like a picture of him looking at a dog and like scrunching up his nose because he wants to sneeze, but it looks like he's just like, a dog.
And so I also plant this in the media, and my contacts like get his nanny from when he was a kid, and as well as like some of his former housekeepers to like make a statement that he's allergic to dogs and hates retrievers. And Stentor, can this affect the polls at all?
You mean your special move?
Yeah.
No, the only thing that will make the polls go up and down is when you roll the dice to make the cat do something.
Okay.
That's the only thing that'll, and the debate will make the polls go up and down too. But within regular scenes, it's only when you roll dice that you can actually move the polls.
I think since like me and Becky are the best qualified to get the cat to do something at this point, and Becky is not interested in participating in this aggressive campaign, I'll just step in as Monica, and I'll try to get the cat to play with this little Labrador Retriever plushie to show that the cat is just like,
yeah.
Farquaad hates dogs, especially Labradors. But Mr. Wiggles, he loves Labradors. As you can see, here's Mr. Wiggles playing with this beautiful, fluffy Labrador.
And I'm gonna humiliate myself and just like awkwardly like squat into the frame to give the cat the toy to get the extra die. And like, here, Mr. Wiggles, here's your toy, your favorite toy. And they're just humiliating. I used to be on the top law firm in town just a couple of months ago. So I'm rolling 5 and hoping for the best. Every time. Damn it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, Mr. Wiggles, what are you gonna do to this?
Can I offer a suggestion?
Yeah.
Mr. Wiggles totally like plays with it, but is definitely doing like the play, like pounce and like shake and stuff on there. And you're like, yeah, he's playing. Not sure that's a good type of playing.
He loves Labrador Retrievers for lunch.
Yeah, and you thought that you were recording video, but you were actually live streaming.
So if we're down to 20%. Oh no.
Yeah, so the cat has dropped to 20% in the polls, and you'll see the polls don't go past 2080 in either direction because both candidates have a hard core of supporters that will never abandon them. And also because there's no way to get a 10% chance of rolling something with only rolling D6s. So you can't get worse. So if you roll the dice to make the cat do something and you don't get a 6 again, it won't mechanically move the polls, but you'll still want to describe the outcome as something that would hurt you in the polls.
So I think the scene ends like what Yoshi said, like Mr. Wiggles is playing with the plushie, and then okay, it's gonna work, and then he starts bouncing on it, and then we just hear, Mr. Wiggles, no! And then the camera just cuts and shakes.
All right. So if that's the scene end, then as before, everybody name someone else who you are jealous or resentful of, and they will get a die.
I'll say I'm jealous of Slade because he did something he's not qualified for, and he really stepped up to the plate. And I can't even get this cat to play with the toy without destroying it.
Yeah, and I think I resent Slate because he's tarnished the image of Mr. Wiggles. In my mind, it's like I don't approve. He is the voice of negative campaigning in this town now.
And I think I'm jealous of Becky because Becky managed to stay out of it, even though like I am now the voice of the negative campaign. Becky still has that like the air of positivity that I'm jealous of.
I'm also jealous of Becky for sticking to her ideals and like not stooping to the dirty fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be the only one with a clean reputation after this campaign is over. Like, I could be chief of staff at this rate.
All right, so we've got one more scene to go before the big debate. Yoshi, tell us how this scene kicks off.
So I think I want to combine two of these things. So I think Mayor Farquaad is holding some sort of like campaign rally or thing, but it's like where he's getting like an influential endorsement type thing. And so like I think we want to like disrupt that influential endorsement campaign rally type thing. Like there's supposed to be like this big ceremony or something where somebody's like going to come and they're going to take pictures type thing. Because I think Mayor Farquaad like likes the plays. It's probably like some B-list actor. Like it's like not a really popular actor, but like somebody is coming here and like meeting at like the play or something like that. So I think it's going to be us trying to disrupt that campaign rally of some sort. I think part of what I am doing, what Slade is doing, and his idea, whether or not anybody else is going to go along with me, is I am definitely trying to plant like dog hair in the ventilation system, so like that it's around, and so that Mayor Farquaad will have nothing but like being sneezy during the campaign rally.
All right. Yeah, so everybody tell us what your characters are doing in this scene.
So this is a campaign rally for Farquaad. So are his big donors in here?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like they're making a big thing about it.
Oh yeah. So I used to represent a bunch of them when I was a high stakes lawyer. So I'm just gonna use my poll and be among them to see if I can like dissuade them from supporting Farquaad.
I think I am kind of outside the venue with like the official contingent, giving statements to like passing journalists. Because I'm easily recognizable.
Becky, are you here in any capacity? Are you watching Mayor Cat somewhere? Or Mr. Wiggles?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've... Yeah, I've got Mr. Wiggles, and like we're conducting an open like a video town meeting to counter the mayor's closed door fundraising rally. So like I'm taking questions over Skype.
And we can all be like that group text, talking to each other.
And I think at my little table where we have our like official like thing, I have like a computer where people can come like submit questions for this rally.
So I think I have like a volunteer basically go and ask like some of like the guards or something, a question that's just enough for them to get distracted so I can sneak in and plant these dog hairs to basically maybe hopefully mess some stuff up. And I think that goes fine. But my question is, when I'm sneaking out, do I get caught?
I'm gonna say yes. I like the scandal of it.
Okay.
But you're not gonna get caught by one of the security guards. You're gonna get caught by someone from Farquaad's campaign. Like maybe you're like the person who does the same thing that you do, but for him.
Yeah, and it's got to be like his niece or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I talk with her and try to get her to like to reason with her. I'm like, I'm just here. I'm investigating the like what's going on. I just wanted to see what you're doing. Like, come on, both of us, we're not very high up in these organizations. You've got to be a little bit curious about like how our rallies are going and how your things. I'm just trying to see if I've picked the right the right candidate to be behind, like sort of like lying and trying to like get on her good side and appeal that we're at the same level.
Oh yeah, and like Natasha Farquaad is. Oh, we don't care what your candidate. You're at 20% in the polls. There is no chance. We are not worried at all. But you know, we could always use a little insurance. So if you're interested in hedging your bets, we can arrange something.
Oh, I am always interested in as much as I love Mr. Wiggles, I've got to look out for me, Natasha. You know what that is like, right?
Oh yeah. Doc, if you can get us some of their internal campaign documents, I really think that we can arrange something for you after the campaign. I mean, there are going to be a bunch of jobs at this dog park. I mean, very well-paid jobs. And I think we could definitely get you a slice of that.
I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm sure you've had to copy a lot of memos before. I've had to copy a lot of memos. I'm pretty sure I could make an extra copy or two of some of those things coming up.
And you know, if you could get some recordings of Mr. Wiggles, like just making some unguarded comments, anything like that, that would be gold.
I'll see. I mean, I don't know if you've seen those ads. I mean, I'm sure you must have seen those ads, but
the one with the Labrador toy, That was hilarious. The way Mr. Wiggles tore that poor dog's throat out.
Yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
I think all I have to do is point the camera, and we'll see what happens. And I think that's a good place to end the scene.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and hand out those jealousy or resentful dice. Then I'll explain how the debate is going to work so that you can be thinking about it, and then we'll go on our little break, and then come back and actually play the debate. But let's do the jealousy or resentful dice first.
I'm jealous of Becky being able to be nice and comfy at the office while I have to stand on my feet answering people's stupid questions outside of the rally.
I'm jealous of Slade for getting into some spy action while I have to talk to a bunch of stuffed up old white men.
And this is great because I am jealous of Monica, who got to just sit down and eat some really fancy food because that's what they do.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm jealous of Monica too, because I mean, I'm just sort of cooped up in the office, and it's like we are getting hardly any questions online. It's like we threw together this Q&A session at the last minute, and there's just like nobody calling in. So I'm feeling like, yeah, Monica just she was in the best shape this time. She was just Monica.
Okay, is that everybody? Okay. All right, so the way that the debate is going to work, if you click on the debate tab there, so each of you should write down, or is going to, when we come back, write down one question that's going to be asked at the big debate between Farquaad and Mr. Wiggles. And as you're writing these questions, these are questions that are going to be asked to both candidates. So both candidates will get a chance to respond. So you want to write something that both candidates would be able to say something to. So it's not like a question that would be pointed at just one campaign. So everyone will write down their question. Then we will randomize the order of questions, and we'll go around and each person will get the random question that's been given to you. You will read out the question. You will pick one other player to answer as Farquaad, and that person will give the answer, sort of role-playing Farquaad and what he would say to that question. And you will pick one other player to answer as Mr. Wiggles, with the stipulation of the catch that Mr. Wiggles can only answer the question in meows. So that person will role play meowing out an answer to the question, and you can do the candidates in whichever order you want, but you'll assign one person to answer on behalf of Farquaad and one person to answer on behalf of Mr. Wiggles. Then after you hear both answers, you will award a die to whichever person you think did the better job of answering the question. And then we'll also shift the polls by one in favor of whichever candidate had the better answer. So if you are assigned to be Farquaad, you might earn yourself a die by doing a really good answer, but that will also shift the polls in that direction. And so we'll go through those 4 questions and see how the debate goes, then take another break, and then come back and do one more set of scenes from everybody. Does that sound good?
Okay.
All right, so we'll take 5 minutes. I've got 52 after the hour on my clock, so I will see you at 57 after.
Okay.
All right, so we got everybody back. So if you go to that debate tab on the character keeper and just fill in your question next to your name there. And once we have all 4 questions filled in, I'll use the randomizer to randomize both the order we're going to ask them in and the questions that are going to get asked. So you will probably end up with someone else's question to ask of the campaigns. All right, cool. So we got questions from everyone. So let me sort this. Hang on, still getting used to how to do this in Google Sheets. So, hey, minimize that, and then here. Okay. I got that blank one in there. Okay, so we've got our random order and random questions here. So again, when it's your turn, you will read your question out. You will pick one other player to answer as Farquaad and a different player to answer as Mr. Wiggles. You can do them in whichever order you want. If you are selected to play Mr. Wiggles, you can answer only in meows. At the end, then you will you'll award a die to whichever person is the best. Oh, I see. Noella says everyone is frozen.
It's fixed now.
Oh, it's fixed now. Okay, great, great. All right, so we've got, I guess I should probably change this sheet so that it gives the character or the player names, not the character names in that column. So Noella, you're asking the first question there.
Currently, Labradors in American History is a required course for all Dulochville High School students. Do you support the proposal put forth by some parents to rename the course Cats and Labradors in American History. Let me see. I think Stentor should be Farquaad.
Okay, sure. I can jump in and do one here.
Oh, sorry. Should I not pick you?
Sorry, I forgot. Well, actually, no. You shouldn't pick me because if I win and I'm awarded a die, I'm not going to get to roll that die.
Oh, right. I'll pick. I'll pick somebody else.
Yeah.
I think Louise should be Farquaad then. And then Yoshi should be Mr. Wiggles.
Okay. So Louise, give us Farquaad's answer.
Oh boy. Okay, let's just read. Okay, America. Citizens of Tuluckville. This is a city founded on principles. And principles mean that things are a certain way. If the name of the course is Labradors in American History, we don't need to change it. It's fine the way it is. We can create another course called Cats in American History and include that in the curriculum as an optional course for students. That way, people can both learn the story of our city, and if they so choose, they can learn about whatever cats did for us, the time we've been building this lovely city we live in.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow.
All right. Yeah, and so then Noella decide who gets the die for the best answer there.
I feel like I'm not a fair judge though because I want Mayor Cat to win. But I'm gonna give it to Yoshi because of the hand gesture. That was a good one.
Okay. All right, so that means Yoshi gets another die, and then where Mayor Cat is going to bump up in the polls a little bit for that excellent answer. Okay. So next we've got Stephen asking the next question.
Who do you plan on appointing to your cabinet and other government positions? Noella, you should play Mayor Farquaad, and let's give Louise a turn as Mr. Wiggles.
Who first, Farquaad or Wiggles?
Let's have Mr. Wiggles go first this time.
I think Mr. Wiggles just doesn't say anything for a long time, and there's like this big silence in the debate room, and then he just says, "Meow."
So I'll go. Well, I plan on appointing the most qualified people available, people with advanced degrees from prestigious universities that show their quality of intellect and character. And while there are a fair amount of those people in this town, and I know a great many of them, they are very trustworthy and efficient.
Okay, well, I mean, I think Mayor Farquaad, with his over-intellectualism, has alienated some of the voters. So I'm going to give this one to Mr. Wiggles.
Okay. This debate is really shifting the direction of the race here. So then our next question will be asked by Yoshi.
So I think, Stephen, I'm going to have you play Farquaad, and I think to continue the trend, Noella, I'm going to have you play Mr. Wiggles. I think we're going to start the question towards Mr. Wiggles. You'll be the first to answer. Mr. Wiggles, you'll be the first to answer this. What is your opinion on the controversial federal proposition to mandate that pet owners take their pets on walks, regardless of species?
Well, I think Mr. Wiggles like kind of does a loop around the stage and then kind of does like a happy wiggle and is like meow 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 wiggle wiggle.
As a responsible dog owner and a dog lover, I, like all dog owners and dog lovers, of course have no objection to taking my dog on walks. But we must consider the owners of pets such as goldfishes and snakes, which are not capable of walking, and of parrots, who, while able to walk, find that not their preferred mode of ambulation. I fear that this federal regulation is overbroad and heavy-handed, and that is without even considering the effect on our community's numerous, albeit misguided population of cat owners who, I fear, would find this an imposition. Therefore, I reluctantly cannot support this federal proposal.
I think you hear a couple of cheers, like from like people in the audience for Farquaad, but it's like nowhere near. It's like 3 people who are like on board, and everybody is just like paying attention to Mr. Wiggles, who's just like wiggling and dancing and like sitting and purring. And I think Mr. Wiggles wins yet again.
I ask the moderator to instruct my opponent not to interfere with my answers with disruptive gesticulation.
Your request has been noted.
So I'm the next one, right?
Okay. Yep, and then you take the last question.
All right. Final question, candidates. As we all know, we here in Dulockville take great pride in how beautiful our city is. How do you plan to not only maintain its tradition, but expand upon it? I'm gonna pick, I think Steven hasn't played Mr. Wiggles yet? I'm not
Correct.
mistaken. And Yoshi hasn't played Farquaad yet. Is that it?
Yeah.
If somebody's nodding, I don't know. All the screens are frozen for me.
Yeah, that's correct. Which one of us goes first?
I'll say, I was going to say Lord Farquaad. Mayor Farquaad, since you're unhappy with the proceedings of this debate, you shall have first answer on this question.
Well, thank you very much. This way that people can hear how brilliant my answer is, and they will not be distracted by the gesticulations of my opponents. But no more of that. First, I would say,
and I think Mr. Wiggles walks over. He's like walking between your feet.
Perfect. And I just kind of like look down. I'm like, I just kind of point at the moderator. I'm like, as we know, our city is very beautiful. And as one who can actually go out and talk with other people and promote our city rather than gesticulate around people's legs and wiggle on a camera. I feel like I am the far superior candidate to promote tourism to our city. And with that tourist dollar, then further the increased beautification of our wonderful city and where we live.
Yeah, and Mr. Wiggles jumps up onto the podium where the microphone is, and just starts grooming himself. And it's like he's like curled up and licking his fur, and he's demonstrating through action how he has the qualifications to make the city more beautiful.
Oh yeah, I have to decide who to give dice to. I want Farquhar to take at least one win in this debate. I mean, I'm sorry. I'll say that Mr. Wiggles goes the obvious route with his grooming. He goes where all male cats end up going. And it doesn't play well with all the audiences. And Mr. Farquhar takes the hit on that one. He takes the win.
Okay. So with 3 wins to 1 in the debate, Mr. Wheels has gone up to 40% in the polls versus 60% for Mayor Farquaad. So we can take another quick break unless people are just raring to go to just jump into the last set of scenes. How do you feel? Break, yes or no? I see some thumbs up.
I'm good to keep going.
Okay. Good to keep going. Everyone good to keep going?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then why don't we'll just go ahead and keep going. So we're going to go around once more. Everybody's going to do one more scene. And when the only slight difference from that first set of scenes is that if your first scene involved the cat campaign doing something, your second scene should involve Mayor Farquaad's campaign doing something, and vice versa. It doesn't have to be the same thing. So like if you had, Mayor Cat got an endorsement in your scene, you could have Farquaad, place an attack ad or whatever, but you just have to swap which campaign is taking the initiative in your scene compared to what you did the first time around. But other than that, these scenes will run exactly the same way they did before, and after the last scene, then we'll roll those final dice to see if Mr. Wiggles becomes the next mayor of Dulochville. All right. Okay, so we can go in the same order as before. So I believe Noella was the first scene in the first round. So if you'd like to set the first scene of this round.
So in this scene, there has just been some news come out that it's not an attack ad, but it's like Farquaad has dug up some dirty secrets on Mr. Wiggles. And I think that he was this is just my idea. People can change it if they want. That he used to be like a breeding cat. Like he was the sperm donor for breeding cats. He was a cat hoe. So I think this is just like come out in the paper and we're at the office trying to figure out what to do. Yes, I think, Louise, that's the headline. Like, candidate has dozens of illegitimate children. And I'm freaking out.
I think I'm just like on two phones, one in each hand, and checking the laptop at the same time. And it's just like, there's got to be some legal precedent for this. Everybody knows that sperm donors are anonymous. It has to apply the same thing for cats. If he can run for mayor, he can protect his identity. And I'm just like, just talking to a bunch of people, trying to get some legal people on this.
I think Becky is like in crisis mode, and she's going to the fanfic sites, and she is recruiting the fanfic writers to post romantic stories about Mr. Wiggles' past love affairs to build up sympathy.
I think you see Slate, who is just kind of like looking down and depressed, and like he looks up and he's like, Farquaad appoints all of his relatives to positions. If Mr. Wiggles has so many children, how am I going to get a spot?
So nobody's watching the cat.
Oh no. Nobody is watching the cat. We're all panicking. I'm like on the phone with my like friend at the newspaper, and I'm like, how could you do this? Well, I thought we were friends. Like, why would you print this?
Oh, so I get to see what Mr. Wiggles has done. Let me see. I really want to go knock something important, but I'm not sure what he could knock. I'm taking suggestions here on what Mr. Wiggles could do.
Computer.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah, he knocks over like it's not a big funded campaign, mostly because most of the funds go to Monica's very expensive hourly payments. But I think he knocks over the only laptop that we have. Knocks over the whole campaign laptop, and it just cracks open on the ground, just like completely destroyed.
Oh.
All
my documentation was in there.
Like I go and pick it up, and I'm like, I think that just the screen is cracked. Maybe the hard drive's still good.
I mean, I can.
We need to get a new computer, and we need it now.
No, it's I can get an old monitor. I can get a plug. It'll be fine. And like Becky runs off, and she's back 15 minutes later with one of these old green computer terminals, and it's like she's got 3 adapters that are chain linked together, and she manages to plug it into the USB port. So yeah, so there are no graphics. It's just text now, but it's working.
I can't work with this. How am I going to lay out a contract in this ancient type? I don't know. This ancient note-taking device. This is not a computer. This is a.
It's called retro, Monica. It's hip. This will get the youth vote. Kids are into this kind of thing.
How are we going to show them the computer if our computer is dead and this doesn't have a camera?
Look, I guarantee I'll get a picture of Mr. Wiggles typing at this computer, and it's going to set our poll numbers through the roof. Let me show you. So
I would like to point out that while we're arguing over the computer, nobody is still watching the cat.
Oh no, Mr. Wiggles.
I think he goes missing.
I don't know. I really wanted to see that row for getting Wiggles to type on the computer.
Well, we can do that.
right. So I mean, first, so we just need to get Mr. Wiggles to come out, and then so somebody needs to find Mr. Wiggles. It's like I've got my stash of cat toys with catnip, and I'm pulling them out. I'm going around the office, waving them, trying to lure Mr. Wiggles out.
I think you eventually find Mr. Wiggles, and he is on top of the refrigerator inside the break room, like just chilling up there, like way up high, like looking down, lording over everybody, but like just chilling up there. Definitely out of reach, easy reach. Like, and as you reach your hand up to like try to lure him down, he just like bats your hand away.
It's okay. It's okay. I go over and like I get the chair and like I get another chair and I put it on the first chair because this is like a freakishly tall refrigerator. So yeah, so I'm climbing up to the chair that's on top of the chair, and it's kind of wobbly, but yeah, I mean, here, Mr. Wiggles, here, Mr. Wiggles.
I feel like this is a good time for that roll to see how you can get Mr. Wiggles to type on that computer.
Okay, so yeah, and I think I am definitely making myself look ridiculous. That's an extra die. And let's see how this goes. Oh, good grief. 8 dice and no 6s.
Wow.
And yeah, and boy, and I mean, Mr. Wiggles jumps on my face, and he's clinging to my hair, and I fall down in a big crash. Like there's, I mean, I think one of my earrings like catches on the refrigerator and it rips out and there's like blood everywhere. And yeah, we try to keep this quiet. We try to keep this quiet at the emergency room, but Monica forgot to have one of the nurses sign the NDA. Yeah. There is like this huge assault scandal. It's like this Me Too thing. It's like, can you trust a cat that rips out a staffer's earring?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely the end of the scene.
Yes, it is the end of the scene since it's my scene technically.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay, so yes.
All right, so hand out your jealousy dice there.
I'm gonna resent Becky because the whole reason she's in this campaign is to get us stuff. And when I want stuff, I want the pretty stuff. I don't want the like cobble something together stuff. I want the nice stuff. I used to work in a big law firm. We had the nicest stuff.
Right. Okay. And just a question about the rules. Do my dice reset to 0 after I roll? Yeah.
Yes. Do you go down to 0 after you roll them, and then
back up to
they'll
1?
go back up
okay.
if someone awards you one? Yeah.
All right. If I could roll for that. Okay. So
I think I resent Monica because yet again things got out because we didn't have an NDA form signed properly. So I think Monica, not looking good for you.
I'm jealous of Slate because he seems to have kept himself together in this incident.
yeah, and I resent Slate because Slate was supposed to assign somebody to watch Mr. Wiggles and just fell down on the job here. Okay, and I guess I frame a scene now. So, I mean, I think our campaign is holding a rally to draw attention to the condition of potholes in the city, and the Farquad campaign, they've got a whole squad of people in dog costumes to counter protest. And they're coming out to disrupt our campaign's big event.
I think I am working with the volunteers who are like standing at like all of the entrances, and that everybody who is in a dog costume is not allowed entrance into it. So like we're standing there and like we see these people and it's like, no, I'm sorry, Fido, you are not allowed in here. You cannot come in. And like they're like, my name isn't Fido. It's like something else. I'm Sparky. That is Fido. And like we're just arguing back and forth. And I'm like, you can't get in here. There are, as you can read, it says no dogs allowed.
I think the police is nearby, and they're not really doing anything. And I'm just like at the ear of the police chief, just like, this is absurd. They can't interfere with our candidate's rally, and he just keeps repeating, it's a cat. Your candidate is a cat. I'm like, that's not the point.
Right, and like half of the policemen are Farquads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like Becky is the cat wrangler for this event. I mean, she's got a big bandage on her ear where the earring tore out, and like she's carrying Mr. Wiggles around on this big cushion that has like these tassels with cat toys at on the end of them. And there's a cat toy like on a spring in the center that's sort of wiggling around, and Mr. Wiggles is batting at it as I walk around with this cushion.
I think I walk up to like where Monica and Slate are standing, and I'm kind of covered in goo, and I'm like, they threw cat food, they threw dog food at me.
You see this, Chief? This is aggression. They assaulted one of our members.
I think I look and like, look, if you disagree, Mr. Police Chief, that our candidate is a cat and that's not worth anything to you, what would make Mr. Wiggles be a viable candidate in your eyes? What would he have to do? So asking the group, what would the police chief ask?
Be a human.
Maybe like, I don't know. What does the police chief want?
You don't even have a permit for this rally. We're doing you a favor just by being out here at all. There are people who are having to detour an entire block because you've got so many people here in the streets. And you know what? I have half a mind to arrest all of you.
And I say, sir, many people every day have to take detours because of all the potholes in these roads. We are drawing attention to this egregious issue.
And I'm gonna use my ability, like shoot one character from legal or police struggle, and say like, and we have a right to be here. This is our candidate. He got approved in the democratic process of our city to be a viable candidate for mayor. That means we're entitled to all the benefits that comes with the position, which means having rallies that, yes, disrupt the public movement a little, but no more than the potholes like my associate just said. And if you are not going to do your job, which is to protect the politicians of the city from mobs that are coming to attack their staff, then I'm going to have you demoted. I'm going to call the person who's above you. I'm going to call the attorney general. I'm going to call the sheriff. I'm going to call whoever it is and get you out of in uniform faster than you can say police abuse.
I can say police abuse pretty darn quickly, punk. But hey, okay. You can have your rally. You can have all the members of the public come to your rally. I mean, these fine law-abiding members of the public in dog costumes, we aren't going to stop them from coming to your rally. That would be interfering with the democratic process.
Okay, Becky needs to get a like a tear grenade or something here to throw at the mob, because like we need to get them out of our way, and the police are not going to do anything.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like Becky absolutely got you some tear gas grenades when you asked for them a while ago. She didn't even ask why you wanted them.
Yeah, so I think I just say, all right, fine. I guess we'll all just go in and enjoy our afternoon, and that's just code for get inside because we're popping off the tear gas on everyone who's outside.
Cool. And I think while all of this is happening, while the tear gas like goes off and everything, the camera is still going to be focusing on Mr. Wiggles. And I think I'm there with Mr. Wiggles and like helping him remain calm while there's still like public, like a little bit of chaos going on, to get that image of like, see, Mr. Wiggles can see disaster going down, but remains calm. Something that Mayor Farquaad wouldn't be doing. Like in situations, you need somebody who can remain calm and make decisions that benefit everybody in tense situations.
Should you roll for that? Since
That was my plan. I'm going to roll.
Yeah. I mean, I think getting Mr. Wiggles to remain calm while there's tear gas going off is definitely something that calls for a roll.
Oh, for sure. And I think I'm staking myself on this, and personally, if I'm like, as one of the people, I firmly stand with Mr. Wiggles on remaining calm in tense situations like these. So putting myself at risk here. So that will give me an extra die. And let's see if I can roll a single 6 on 9 dice. I got 1 6. Cool. Yeah, so I think all through this, I'm Mr. Wiggles is on his elaborate pillow, and I'm just petting him, and you can see the camera going, seeing people moving around and being upset, and probably some people tearing up and crying a bit. But Mr. Wiggles, and there's probably tears coming down my eyes as I'm petting Mr. Wiggles a little bit. But Mr. Wiggles is just batting the tassels and just playing and staying calm.
So is that the scene?
Yeah, that's the scene.
All right, so award your dice. We've got, what, 2 more scenes, right? I mean, have Luis and Yoshi. All right, so 2 more scenes to get those polls up a little more before we roll for the election.
I'm jealous of Monica for actually having enough clout to threaten the police chief and get results.
I mean, I'm jealous of Yoshi but forgetting to pet Mr. Wiggles.
I'm jealous of Becky for, I think every time Monica sees one of the other characters do something illegal, she gets oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could just hide tear grenades around the city.
It's not illegal to carry tear gas grenades for personal defense.
It totally is.
It?
It absolutely is.
It is? Oh. Huh? You learn something new every day.
I'm jealous of Monica for not getting canned. Thrown dog. I feel like I got the short end of the stick because everybody threw dog food at me.
I mean, as the press secretary, you are sort of the face of the campaign, other than Mr.
I am.
People know better than to throw cat food at lawyers, trust me. So I'm guessing that I frame the next scene. And it has to be campaign related, since my last one was campaign related as well. I want to go super risky. I want to go the 2 candidates go on Good Morning America or something. And we're all there in the studio. Or not, if somebody just wants to text through it. It's not Good Morning America. It's Wake Up Duluckville, the morning show of the town. And they're interviewing Mayor Cat and I keep calling Mayor Cat, Mr. Wiggles and Mayor Farquaad.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Yeah.
It's maybe instead of Good Morning, maybe Dinner With, it's the evening show that you put on while you're eating dinner or something like that. You get the alliteration of Dinner with Duluckville or something like that.
Yeah, I love it. And I'll amend what I said and say that, oh no, it has to be a Farquaad thing. Okay. Is it okay if it's a Farquaad thing with the cat there, Stentor? Or does that?
Yeah, I think that's fine. If that's what works for your concept, I think that's fine.
I think it's an ambush tactic. Like, we were told only Mr. Wiggles would be interviewed, and then when we get there, it's a double interview. And we were not prepared. It's just the four of us and Mr. Wiggles, and whoever else anybody wants to bring into the scene. And I'm on my phone again. This thing has a major battery. I'm just saying, this is absurd. We were tricked. I want this program stopped this minute. I don't care if the network has the rights to air this. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think Becky is there. She's baked snickerdoodles from her mom's recipe. She's brought a whole huge big platter full of snickerdoodles to the show. This is like, and the perfect dessert for dinner with Duckville, Duckville.
I think Slate is totally like holding the cat and petting the cat because we haven't quite gone on air yet, and we know that like once we need to like go on air and like start taping things, there's only so long that the cat is going to sit there eating food like at the table. And so it's about keeping the cat away just long enough so that when we need that shot, Mr. Wiggles is ready to actually eat.
I'm looking at my notes, kind of preparing answers, trying to like desperately get ready because I didn't know it was going to be the double interview.
And what does one of the hosts do that we know is going to be problematic with the cat? Maybe they're wearing something or doing something we know Mr. Wiggles is not going to like.
It's actually the opposite. One of the hosts is wearing a catnip perfume, and we're afraid that Mr. Wiggles is going to do something inappropriate.
Oh my god. Who are the hosts, by the way?
Maybe like Laura and Tim. Sound like good host names.
Laura is also wearing dangly earrings.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So maybe we can cut to the point where the cat has to be on air. Like, it's time for Mr. Wiggles to sit down with Mr. Farquaad and eat dinner and answer questions and see how that goes. Oh my god. Oh, I'm the one of the dice now. I have to. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. If nobody has anything else to add to the scene. I think I'm gonna they have this little fake table that they use, and I'm gonna crouch beneath it and I don't know, massage Mr. Wiggles's paws so he'll stay placated during the whole thing, and just try to get him to stay as calm as possible and pretend to be answering the questions with his meows. Oh boy, and I'm humiliating myself for the whole studio staff here. All the mighty have fallen. Oh, 2 6s! Yes! We're doing it! Mr. Wiggles is gonna behave through the whole interview, no matter how much catnip perfume, dangly earrings, and provocative questions get asked.
Yeah, and so I think as Mr. Wiggles is eating and meowing and purring in response, I'm sitting next to them, and as you can clearly hear from Mr. Wiggles' response to that question, like this is like he is in favor of doing this and doing this, and so essentially like translating some of that speech into like some sort of policy to address the question from the meows and purrs.
And what is Farquhar doing during this dinner?
I think he, since like our reaction in the polls went up, I think he is like sort of doing the like disdainful like cutting and like looking at the food and like, do I really have to eat this? As he's like staring at the end of the fork of like, and just like
and maybe Mr. Wiggles doesn't actually behave for the whole interview. Maybe he climbs up on the table and starts eating Farquaad's food, and that's what boosts him up. It's like, oh, he's eating his food and Farquaad's food. He's not picky. That's the mayor we want.
Perfect. I love it. Sorry, I missed. What was that, Louise?
If nobody has anything else to add, that could be seen for me.
Feels good to me.
Okay, so then award your jealousy dice, and then we've got one last scene for the election.
I'll say I'm jealous of Slate because he got to go on air and like translate the policy questions for Mr. Wiggles.
Oh yeah, I'm jealous of Blade too. Blade was definitely putting herself in the forefront there.
I'm jealous of Slate for kind of doing my job.
You were too flustered with preparing, and he just stepped up.
I'm sorry. I am out of that scene. I think I'm jealous of Blade because I think with the attack ads and doing this thing, like I'm feeling like I should do that. Like I'm getting response, like I can actually do the press secretary in front of the camera type thing. And I'm like, why isn't it my job to do that thing? So I'm jealous of Blade for that. Cool. I think that leads directly to my next scene. And I have no idea how you guys are going to be in this scene because this is definitely me talking to Natasha with like some footage of, or like, it's not a footage, but it's like a picture of, or maybe it is, it's like camera phone, like footage of Mr. Wiggles like walking on the keyboard, like the broken laptop hooked up to this like busty, janky ass computer, like screen that's old school. And it's just like him like walking on the keyboard and like the like gibberish just like going up onto the screen type thing. And it's me talking to Natasha going, will this work? I know you've seen me on those things. You were there at that meeting at the dinner with Duloc, and like I can be the press secretary. Like I can do this. I can be the person that speaks for Farquaad.
Yeah, and I think you're like meeting in a public park, and Becky, she's got on this big floppy hat, and like she's put on this this flowered sundress, and she's trying to be and these dark sunglasses. She's trying to very inconspicuously shadow you, although she's still got all of these piercings and these big black boots. So it's not a completely convincing disguise.
I think I have like an ear to the ground, and I know what everyone is doing at all times, and I'm right behind you, holding a menu up to my face, like very TV drama style. Just like it's low. I lower it a little, and I'm looking at you having this conversation.
I'm at the office with the cat. Somebody has to watch him.
Somebody does.
I'm live texting this whole exchange. I'm like, that little snake, and I'm just on my phone for you, Becky. Actually, Blade.
Yeah, and so I'm like, see, Natasha, see, look at what comes up on screen. That offensive word, like, nobody's going to be able to survive that if that gets out. And I'm like, do we have a deal? Like, can you make sure that I become press secretary? And then I'll hand this over, because right now it's on my phone and it would just be your word against mine because you don't actually have a copy of this.
And, yeah. Oh, it's like. And I think Becky, she's going to grab a skateboard from somebody who's in the park, and she is going to try to intercept that and grab that phone.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like she's barreling down the park path, and she reaches out and she grabs for the phone, and what happens?
I think you grab it but wipe out at the same time.
That is entirely plausible. I don't think Becky has been on a skateboard before. She may have underestimated how difficult it is to keep your balance.
Perfect.
And also the kid who owns the skateboard is running after her.
Board and selling info. So I just stand up. I like power step past the table, and I look at Slade and I say, "I'll deal with you later." And I stand between Becky and the kid with the skateboard, and I say, "Did you know that it's perfectly legal in several states to expropriate someone off their skateboards if there's a life and death emergency? Do you know what's at stake right here?" And I'm talking down this kid, I'm like, "Get away from here," to Becky, "just run."
And the kid is like, dude, I just want my skateboard back.
I think at this point, Natasha probably just like bolts and gets out of there. And I'm just standing there like looking at you guys. I'm like, this isn't what it looks like. I know that's Natasha Farquaad, but I was trying to get information. That's what I was trying to do. I was totally trying to get into their organization are we going to be okay about this?
Yeah, you were trying to get into the organization, all right, as an employee. You two-faced little, and it's just like she's going on the expletives here.
Yeah. Look, they didn't get anything. Like I've I still have all of it. Like nothing got handed over. There's nothing incriminating going on.
Because I stopped you. I mean, I'm going to see that Mr. Wiggles fires you if it's the last thing I do on this campaign.
Well, let's do it right now. I take off my phone and I'm like, Blade, get Mr. Wiggles on the phone. He has a decision to make. Oh my god, and the best part
And I think I will talk to Mr. Wiggles, like even though Mr. Wiggles is meowing over the phone, to try to get him to like purr and react in a way that is beneficial to me. And so I'm going to try to calm Mr. Wiggles down.
I'm calming it down. You're gonna get a 6 in this. I just know it.
Yeah. And I think like I am definitely like embarrassing myself in front of you guys, and also in like on the like I'm like meow 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 meow, like I am meowing back to Mr. Wiggles instead of like speaking with like in English. So we'll see.
Meow meow.
Nope. I did not get a 6.
I think this spectacle knocks us down on the polls.
And I think like the scene ends like with like Mr. Wiggles like hissing and things, and it's probably like a video call, and I'm just like and I just like hang up and like hand the phone back. I'm like, I guess that means I won't see you on Monday.
Yeah, you'll see me on Monday in court.
Well, I think that's scene end.
Okay, so that's not a terribly auspicious point to start from for election day. So what's going to happen is we're going to roll some dice. So when Mr. Wheels is at 40% in the polls, that means we roll 3 dice. If we get at least 1 6, then Mr. Wiggles wins the election. If we get no 6s, that means that Farquaad is reelected mayor. And so after we do that, if Mr. Wiggles wins, each of you will get to compliment or congratulate another campaign staffer for something they did that really helped the campaign. If Mr. Wiggles loses, then each of you will blame one of the other staffers for doing something that you think was the cause of the loss, and then you'll each get a short little epilogue for what your character does after the election. Okay, so who would like to roll those 3 dice? All right, should I do it? Everybody else is shaking their heads. Okay, so let's see if roll for your party is friendlier to me than it has been to everyone else. All right, so 3 dice. Submit. Oh no, we got a 2, 3, and a 4. So Mr. Wiggles has lost the election. It's the first time I've played this, the cat has not won. So all right, so we'll go around.
We are the worst campaign staff ever.
Yeah, so each person will go around once, and each person say who on the staff you blame for this loss. Then we'll go around again, and you'll give a short little epilogue for what happens to your character after the election. So maybe we'll just go in the order that we've been going for scenes, if that's all right. So Noella, who does Blade blame for this outcome here?
He blames Monica for missing all those NDAs. All those scandals getting out could have been avoided.
Okay. And who does Becky blame?
Oh, I absolutely blame Slate. He's been undermining the campaign the whole time. I mean, he did those horrible, horrible negative ads, and then he sold out the campaign. Oh, yes, Slate.
Okay, and who does Monica blame?
I'm actually going to blame Becky. Like, Slate just did what rats do when the ship is sinking. Becky had access to all sort of stuff, and she barely got anything out. Like, I mean, you're not even gonna get a bomb scare going and illegal truth serum from China. I mean, what's the point?
I'm going to blame Becky out of both a little bit of jealousy that Becky got to stay true to her values. And then, like, if you had just gone negative with the rest of us, we needed to be a united front. And didn't work.
Okay.
We were trying to run a new kind of political campaign with old-fashioned values.
Awesome. Okay, and so then what is Blade's epilogue? What does he do after the campaign?
I think I go back to being a host at a restaurant, maybe not the same one, but I was like, I can't take the stress of this kind of job and all these negative and all these weird and negative people. So goes back to a relatively stress-free life.
Okay, and how about Becky's life after the campaign?
I think Becky, she starts up a political zine, which is like this free alternative weekly that she's distributing through town. It's like cat pictures and news articles.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. How about Monica?
She gets involved in the campaign to get a dog into the Senate. She thinks that the only thing that was missing was changing the formula a little bit. She's going to get it right this time.
Okay. And how about Slate?
Yeah, so I think Slate has gotten a taste for being in front of the camera and is now working as the host for like a public access channel like TV show where he is trying to like basically just become more popular in front of the TV. It's probably like a ripoff of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like that type of like family show type thing. But like he's not that good at it. Like it's definitely like low budget and like not as good as it should be.
Okay. Excellent. And actually, there's a last question for everybody. What is Mr. Wiggles' epilogue? What happens to Mr. Wiggles when he fails to become mayor?
Well, I think there are a whole bunch of child support lawsuits. I mean, apparently there are even more illegitimate kittens than we knew about. So yeah, there's this huge post-election scandal.
All right. Thank you all so much for playing. I'm gonna end the recording here, and if you'd like to stick around for a quick debrief, and then we'll wrap up for the night.